Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. I am so happy you're here. Today I wanted to talk about some things to consider when you are starting a new exercise program, both on the nutrition side as well as the workout side. So the first thing is, do you have any pre-existing health conditions? For example, are you diabetic? Are you pre-diabetic? Do you have high cholesterol, low cholesterol, things like that? That's more of a nutrition side. More of the physical side is, do you have something like arthritis or osteoporosis or multiple sclerosis or things like that that would dictate what exercises would be better for you over others. The next thing is, are you recovering from surgery and or an injury? So for example, did you have your rotator cuff worked on, or your knees or your hips or anything like that? That's a really important thing to consider, because you want a trainer who will be able to take a little bit more of a physical therapy approach to start with before getting to more of the typical personal training stuff. The next thing you should definitely consider is, are you recovering from any other sort of surgery? So for example, if you've recently had a stroke, a heart attack, things like that, something that is not related to genetics, that's a really important thing to consider, because that's a whole different style of training, and your trainer needs to be able to know the differences between the two. So all of these things are really important, because you want a trainer that's going to be able to cater a program to you. So for example, if you are pre-diabetic and you don't want to become full-on diabetic, well, you don't want a trainer who doesn't understand how to balance carbs, how to balance sugars, and all of those things. If you struggle with something like arthritis or multiple sclerosis, those type of issues, you want a trainer that knows what environment you should be working out in and what exercises you should be doing. So for example, somebody with arthritis prefers to work out in a warmer climate because the cold can make the arthritis worse. The opposite is true for MS. The heat tends to exacerbate that condition, and so people with MS prefer to work out in colder climates. And then of course there are certain exercises that are better for things like that. If you're recovering from some type of surgery as a result of a stroke or something that is not genetic, a lot of the training that you will be doing in the beginning is a lot of things that mimic activities of daily living, or ADLs. So for example, doing things like sitting in a chair and getting back up out of a chair, reaching up to grab something off of a shelf, bending down to pick something up off the floor. Things like that are going to be really important to incorporate into your fitness routine so that you're building a solid foundation. Because what I always tell people is, if you don't have that solid foundation, everything else is going to be 5 bazillion times harder. And the last thing that I always tell people is, ask your trainer questions. Right? Ask them where they got their certifications, what certifications they have, what types of clients have they worked with or have they not worked with. When people ask me that, I say that I pretty much work with everyone except bodybuilders, not because I can't, but just because that's not necessarily my area of expertise. I work with a lot of older clientele. I work with people who want to put on a little bit more muscle, lose weight, get their health conditions back in check, things like that. I'm also kind of the go-to for people with injuries, because I'm very familiar with rehabbing things like shoulders and knees, hips, back, ankles, all that jazz. So it's really important that you do your research and ask questions of your trainer so that you know exactly what you're getting. Because not every trainer is right for everybody, and that doesn't make a trainer less knowledgeable or less qualified or anything like that, but you want to make sure that they are a good fit for you. So I hope that this was helpful. Please drop any questions that you have in the comments, and I will talk to you very soon.